All right, here we go. Welcome to the completion of our Take a Leap journey. This is the workshop slash masterclass where we're going to bring everything together. And we're also going to be talking about how to follow through and build momentum on that leap, because it starts with that spark, right? And then we get to keep going. And I'm surrounded now by an incredible group of women who are here live. Thank you, ladies, for joining. And thanks to anybody who's watching, everybody who's watching the replay. Um, I know we have participants from so many different time zones, which is so thrilling. And I've gotten so many beautiful messages of people that wanted to make the workshop, but the timing didn't work out or whatever. Life happens. So for those of you who are here live, we're going to have an amazing time and opportunities definitely to coach and ask questions if you want to share. And for those of you who are watching the replay, you know that you can find me in the in the Take a Leap group, and ask me any questions that come up after you watch the replay. We're going to have a really, really beautiful time today. So the structure that I'm going to take you guys through that we're going to work over the next hour or so is we're going to start with a nice audio sort of activation to really bring our energy in. And I just want to lay the tone for a lot of what we're going to cultivate today is what we've been talking about over the past week, which is certainly the generating, the validating, and the activating, right? The core steps of taking that leap and building the momentum, but also really aligning the divine feminine and the masculine energies. I call that aligning your inner drive with your divine wisdom. And this is such a pivotal, beautiful time to do that work, to dive deeper into that work, big picture. And because of, again, aligning, and one of the reasons why I loved the fact that this Take a Leap challenge aligned with the new moon that is happening today. Happy new moon, by the way. I love working with new moon energy because it really helps to plant seeds of intention for what you want to create. And this new moon, I've read in a few places as I do my research that it is quite possibly the most powerful new moon of the year. Actually, I heard one of the astrologers that I like to follow who's been doing this work for years, and he goes, this is one of the most, if not the most powerful moon lunation. So any from new moon, full moon, any moon that he's seen in years. And the reason for that is because there's a lot of stuff happening in the sky. And for those of you who might be following astrology, or just feeling into the energy of everything that's shifting, certainly this year, needless to say, has been a year of incredible shifts. And as we're coming and rounding the corner of 2020 and seeing sort of like the completion of this year of so many shifts and into 2021, the energy is aligning in such a way where we have learned some tough lessons, right? We have, and it's been, I'm sure, a combination of really tough moments and beautiful moments and aha moments and shift moments. And, one of the things we talked about in the Take a Leap challenge was how have we changed in 2020? That was in one of the trainings. So it's beautiful to understand at a deep level what has shifted in us. And that's going to be fuel for the leaps we're going to take moving forward, because so much of the process that I feel really called to guide others through, as I do in myself, is to not do things in a default way based on how we've been doing them before, but to reinvent the way we do everything. And so there's an opportunity right now to cultivate a new technology of how we show up in the world. And I say technology because it's almost like this new way of being, this new way of what's available for us, especially as visionary women, is really profound. And it is going to require a leap of faith, a quantum leap into the next stage of our own evolution. And you're probably feeling it. And if you're here, that's vibing with you. And if so, I'd love to hear in the comments. And thank you for sharing where you are, what you're about, and what you want to create in your life, because that helps to enrich our experience together. So going back a little bit to this particular new moon, it's in the sign of Libra. And Libra is a sign of balance, a sign of scales. It's a sign of relationships and collaboration, right? And boy, do we, is there a need for that right now? There's also so much else going around in terms of, again, the energy on lots of different levels that I really see this as I tap into personally into the energy of today and the next couple of days. It's bringing into balance the divine feminine and masculine within you. And that could look as simple as understanding where you're being driven, strategic, and where you are in the space of creating from that more masculine energy, and where you are, where you might have the opportunity to expand deeper into your intuitive knowing, into that divine wisdom, and that what I call creatrix consciousness. And part of what I've, because, in the work that I do, and I'm a coach, I'm a guide, I'm a content creator. I host a podcast with my husband. I have one myself. I have my Facebook groups. I have group coaching programs. I have private clients. And I'm really becoming more and more comfortable with the world of creating what's tangible and also what's completely intangible. And part of that for me looks like being a spiritual channel for these philosophies, new codes that are coming through that, again, are available for all of us. But for some reason, I'm feeling particularly drawn to them. And I call this, this experience of what's coming through for me, I call them creatrix codes. And I started receiving them about a month ago. And the more I connect with my intuitive spiritual side, the more changes, the more positive changes I've seen in my business, in my life, in my communication, in my sense of authenticity, in my freedom, because there was a lot that I was keeping behind the scenes and constricted. And that might mean different things for you. Some of you may be drawn to, more of that spiritual channeling space. Some of you may be drawn to other things, but there is a spark within you that may be either starting to catch a little bit more fire and fuel. Maybe it's been dormant for a while and you're feeling that sense of, one of the messages I receive, I get via email and messages, and I hear from my clients all the time is, there's something I know I'm meant to do. There's something I'm meant to step into, and it feels really big and it feels really juicy. And I have no idea how to get there, or I can kind of see the steps, but I'm overwhelmed about the big vision. And what I'm here to tell you is that the more you become comfortable with the unknown, which is that divine part of you that when with a capital K, like not your brain, but your heart, other aspects of you, that requires a lot of courage, because we're literally stepping into realms that we don't have the sort of manual for. There's no manual for where we're going, both collectively and individually. So the more comfortable we become with those ways of being, the more momentum you'll build, and the more you'll be able to follow through, which is a key part of what I want to land for all of us here in this particular workshop. Because we've been talking about generate, validate, activate as the 3-part framework to get something going, right? And feel free to refer back to those trainings where I go deep into that. And we also started uncovering and dissolving some of the beliefs that hold us back. I'm not good enough. I'm not ready. I'm afraid of what other people will say. I'm afraid of success, which was the last one we covered, which is big and can be very sneaky. So just, over the course of the past week, we've been looking at all of that. And today it's an opportunity, and especially with this delicious, very potent new moon, to plant the seeds of, okay, this is a before and after moment. Like, this is where I get to go next. And to hold on to that spark in such a way that you're just going for it, and you're trying things, and you're experimenting, and you're in a flow where you go from working with your logical brain all the time, which, let me know if anybody out there is also like super logical in their thinking, and you got to know all the steps. And if you don't have even when we are very like into energy and all that stuff, it's like, we got to know the next steps, because there's this false illusion of having to be in control. And otherwise it's just going to all fall apart. So that's why it takes that literal leap of faith, and leap in faith, like leap in trust, leap in all the things, leap in courage to go, okay, deep breath and go. And to see the bigger vision and the bigger possibility, and to anchor it in the present moment, so that it doesn't just stay in your journals. It doesn't stay in your Post-it notes that you're writing around you, like, I'd like to do this. It doesn't stay on your vision board. It actually becomes part of your day to day. It becomes your I am, not just your I wish or I hope. Makes sense? Let me know if this makes sense. Good. I'm seeing some nods. Awesome. If you have any questions along the way, please feel free to chime in. So let's get grounded with just, if possible, you can close your eyes. And we're just going to take a moment here to bring ourselves into this present moment, releasing anything from earlier in the day that we've been holding on to, just dropping it, almost like you have a suitcase that you just put down, or you've been carrying it around in a backpack, an imaginary backpack that kind of waves on your shoulders. Just take it off and just put it to the side. It's okay. You can pick it back up later. And releasing any ideas or thoughts or stress or overwhelm, anything that you're projecting into the future, whether it's your immediate future today or further down the line. All those, what ifs that might be scaring you. There's two types of what ifs. There's the juicy what ifs of possibility, and there's the what ifs that come from fear. So if you have any what ifs that are coming from fear, allow yourself the permission to just release them for a moment. Just put them down. Say, it's okay. It's okay. And just breathe easefully. And I would invite you to find, and this is a really great tip to enter a space of mindfulness, is as you breathe in, notice where in your body you seem to be feeling that energy of that breath the most. Almost like, obviously we're breathing in through our nose, but there's some part in your body. For some of us, it's the heart chakra, maybe it's the solar plexus, maybe it's even more in your gut. There's some part where when you're taking a nice deep breath in, you feel sort of a pull of energy in that space. And I want you to imagine that you're breathing in from that location, and notice that, and notice where that is for you. And this is a really beautiful, quick anchor point to help you when you're going to sit in a space of meditation, whether you're going to breathe for 2 minutes to take a quick recalibration break because life is a little crazy around you, or you're sitting in meditation for a longer period of time, or opening up to meet your spirit guides. It's a great way to begin to ease your system into safety, into surrender, into the present moment. And I'd love for each of you to visualize your own inner divine spark. And imagine again where it shows up in your body for you. And this, again, might feel like it's just a tiny spark that you're just beginning to breathe life into. Or maybe it feels like a roaring fire that you're like, oh my God, if I don't do something about this, oh. It could look like a bunch of different things. It could feel like a bunch of different things, but I want you to familiarize yourself with it. Really hold it. Hold it in your mind's eye. Hold it with your heart energy. Experience it. And I want you to thank it. I want you to show appreciation for that spark in whatever stage it might be. Say, hi, I see you. And thank you. Thank you for believing in me. Thank you for showing me what's possible, even when I may not believe it myself in my head. That divine spark, I sometimes call it your divine appointment, is what manifests out in the world as that thing that you really want to do, create, be. And you may be feeling somehow blocked from fully experiencing it and making it a reality. Are you plagued by doubt, by thoughts of perfectionism, by thoughts of somebody else has already been there? Why would I do this? thoughts of, I don't want people to think I'm crazy. They won't understand me. How will I explain this? How will I sustain my life if I follow this thing that I'm so called to nurture? And going back to that little flame or that roaring flame and holding it in your hands, like I want you to most feel it. Feel that, is it heat? Is it is it a certain color? Is it does it have anything emanating from it? Really appreciate it. And I want you for a moment to also appreciate the sparks in each and every one of the other beings, beautiful visionary souls on this call, in this workshop, whether they're here live or watching the replay. I want you to also honor that spark within every single one of us. And imagine them linking together like this beautiful string of lights, amplifying their energy, supporting each other, allowing that current of energy to move through them. And now I want you to envision within yourself one aspect of you that you find is very much in the more masculine way of doing things, meaning there's that drive. It's very strategic. She might be very analytical. She wants to know the how, the steps, the A through Z. There's that, that wants to see things tangibly. Like, and we're honoring all of those aspects are very important and they're actually very powerful to make things happen. So pick one aspect of you that is really anchored and very comfortable in that space. You know how to get things done, you're decisive, you're just whatever feels like that, more of that inner drive energy. And just hold it there. And now I want you to focus on one aspect of you that is really in the divine feminine, that is just representative of your divine wisdom, your intuition, your connection to spirit. We might call it your spidey senses, your sixth sense, that knowing that you have. Maybe it's part of your sacred practice. There's something about you. There's this joy, this effervescence, um, all of these aspects. And by the way, the divine feminine is also very fiery. She's bold. She's courageous. And she is very comfortable with what is unknown. She's often more of a risk taker than the aspects of us that are more in the masculine. She is a creatrix. And when we are in creatrix consciousness, as I call it, you're actually aligning these aspects of you. So right now, we're just picking one example of each one. And I want you to combine those two aspects, visualize them a little bit, and combine them with that spark. Allow both of those pieces to actually nurture that spark that you have and to make it glow brighter, make it even more potent. And notice how that might shift the energy in your body. For some of you, you now may feel like, oh, wow, I feel a little more decisive about this thing I want to do. And for some of you, it might be, wow, I feel like I can trust myself. I can trust my creatrix energy. And maybe I'm not fully like there yet, but I'm certainly feeling a shift. We're going to take a couple of nice deep breaths here as we start to get back in our space, grounded, wiggling our fingers, our toes. And when you're ready, open your eyes and in your journal, capture very quickly and intuitively what your experience was. So, how did you experience the spark? Describe it, colors, the feeling tone, all of it. Did it make you happy? Did it make you thrilled? Did it make you scared? Did it make you like whatever? And describe those masculine and feminine energies. Whatever came up. And know that each one of us will have a different, and this is what's beautiful about our individuality and awakening the creatrix within, is that you're going to experience them through maybe different senses, meaning some of you, it may be symbols. Some of you, it may be like a sound. It may be just a feeling, maybe colors, memories. Allow anything that comes up to just come right through onto the page. Don't even question it. Don't think about it. Just take this as an opportunity to fully trust yourself and be in the moment. And I'll invite you to start bringing that to completion. If anyone wants to share in the chat anything that may have come up for you, please do so, or in the comments when you watch the replay of the workshop. And I just want to do a quick check-in as well. If this is resonating with you, and you can just write yes in the chat. If it's resonating with you, if you're feeling something that's like, yep, this is the language. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I love it. Yes, I love it. So the reason why I love to play in the space of uniting both is because that's really where the magic happens, meaning inner drive, divine wisdom, like let's bring them together. The strategy and the intuition. Robin says, I saw the spark as July 4th fireworks in large display. Wow, that's really beautiful. Adventurous, intuitive. Ooh, love, love, love. Love that. The combining of these two, and I love that that's perfect what Robin just shared about that adventurous, intuitive. It's another way to bring it together. It's that strategy and that intuition. And we've been conditioned for a long time in our lifetime and in our ancestral lineage, and you can just look at this in lots of different ways. But the point is that we've been conditioned to almost shift in and out of, well, now I'm being this and now I'm being that. And the true, I think, evolution of, again, if we think about it like a spiritual technology, spiritual and strategic technology that is really cool and really possible for all of us to anchor into, is that both of these happen together at the same time. And there's no, it's almost like we're honoring both of them, right? But they're both in this neutral space of we're just in it. We're just in that flow. And so how we actually get in the flow, I think a big part of it is to take the next steps that we're ready to take, which is where the follow through comes in. Because that may be the part where we get stuck. We want to move forward. We have the vision. So it's like, okay, yes, I get to tap into my intuitive self, but how do I actually develop the courage to begin making decisions from that place, make decisions from a place of vision rather than circumstance, so that we can both trust our strategic self, the one that was going to figure out all the logistics, and also our intuitive self, so that we can actually step in to do the things that may be outside of our visible space right now. I just want to read April's comment here. I'm working combining with masculine and feminine. Yeah. Yes. And I love how you shared this yesterday, and this is available in the Take a Leap group. I have this show I do every week called Goddess Jam Sessions, and I invited a few women who have worked with me, and April was on the show, and she mentioned this, like she had this tendency to lean way more towards the masculine. And so now, as she's embraced this other side, the things that she's creating have evolved like exponentially over the past just very few short months. And she's only getting started. So I love that I love that you're sharing this here, because many of us have been plagued with the overthinking, and I can't put it out into the world until it's like, looks just so. And we get stuck in we get paralyzed in so many bits and pieces that then we go nowhere, which is why part of what I want to do is both encourage us to be in the space of, okay, creatrix consciousness, and also, well, how the heck do I do the thing I want to do, which is how we get it going. So the formula that I like to follow for follow through, the number one secret is, unless you're really clear on why this matters, and you don't even have to have that, like everybody's like, oh, what if I don't have a clear vision? It doesn't even have to be that clear yet. It can certainly get that clear, and it should. But don't get stuck on the wording of it. Don't get stuck on the description of what is it that I do? Who am I? How do I describe this? All of that comes into place, right? There's ways to bring all of that clarity in. But it's more about understanding the why. Why you're showing up every single day for this, because the process is constantly evolving, because you're constantly changing, you're constantly shifting. And so the first step in the follow through is this awareness, a deep awareness of both why, and also an awareness of what seems to be holding us back. So this is where revising the 5 limiting beliefs, and of course there's more, but I talk about these 5 that are pretty universal, revising those, and always going and doing these mental checks of like, okay, there's something I want to set in motion, and I'm feeling the procrastination comes in, and it might look like, oh, I'm going to just go check my email, or I'm going to go just wash the tub because that's really important right now, instead of doing the thing you want to do. And that sounds funny, but I'm pretty sure we've all been there. And it's like, who really wants to wash the tub? But we find in the most convenient moments in our day, because there's something that may be unseen that is holding us back in that moment and wants to put us in a place of safety. So notice that every belief that says, what are other people going to say? It affects our sense of safety, our sense of belonging, or, wow, what if this really actually works? Can I sustain it? It affects your safety in the sense of maybe you're not fully trusting that you can be a woman of completion, that you can follow through and keep the momentum and keep the consistency of building this beautiful project. Maybe in the past you've had, like Robin was mentioning earlier, which I have too, this little like sacred little graveyard of all the projects that never came to fruition that you started. Maybe you bought the URL, or you designed the logo, you wrote down, and you got up one day and you were like, wow, this is it. And then what happened? It's like, oh, maybe later, maybe I'll do this. And it's going to come back. It comes back because it's meant to come through you. And so when we kind of go, okay, let me have a deeper sense of awareness here and transform my belief systems around what's holding me back. Like, dig into the procrastination. Why is that happening? And then go, oh, no judgment. Go, oh, okay. Well, I'm doing that. Okay, how is this showing up for me right now? And then how to shift it is then to start moving into, okay, what's the next step, which is about that next little intuitive. And this is where intuition is also great to combine in, because you might have a collection of things you think you're going to do, but there's one that seems to be it may not be the logical one. But then when you have done enough of those, you can look back and go, oh, I get the why. And I'm sure we've all had those experiences where we're like, wow, I've been manifesting and bringing things into fruition in my life in ways that I didn't even realize. Then you have that power because you've shown yourself how to do it before, bringing that into your present experience. So awareness. The other thing is, and this is where we get into the strategy, is systems, to bring in the systems that will support you. And systems look like, well, how to focus in your time and your energy, how to carve out the time for the things that matter to you, how to structure certain moments of the day, of the week, of the month that you can dedicate to what you want to create. surrounding yourself, another system is surrounding yourself with others who are like-minded, who are speaking your language, who will hold you high in possibility, who you can bounce ideas off of and are not going to poo-poo any of your plans, because all we see is, oh, yeah, cool. This is what could be possible if you do that. Creating that bond of sisterhood is one of the most healing things we can do as visionary women, because we've had this tendency, even if it's not coming from a negative place, but we have this tendency to be in competition over collaboration. Because again, thanks to ways that we've learned in the more patriarchal ways of being that our kind of our society has followed, there has been this sense that if, there's a certain kind of, there's a limited pie, and if somebody else is doing it, then I can't do that because she's already doing it. She said it, or she wrote the book, or she looks like what I'm doing, or he does, or whatever it may be. So we tend to go into that space instead of completely valuing the very unique, completely unique fingerprint of a person that we are. Like, we are, that this is the only time in the history of the universe that you will exist in this time and space, in this iteration. And so not fully expressing the uniqueness of who you are is actually a detriment to those around you. And I know that might sound like, oh, wow, but if I fully imagine to being fully like expressed, not thinking about anything that blocks you. Wouldn't that be wild? And then you think about, oh, all the buts, but this, but that, but the other thing. But the systems, again, allow us to have a space where, okay, this is what I'm dedicating this to. Understanding, if you're someone who's building a business or taking a business to the next level, what are the systems, the platforms, where do you want to show up, the clarity around your audience? Because once you have all of those things in place, it allows your mind, and it allows your heart to play with a little more freedom, because you're not stuck in the, what are the pieces I have to put into place, which can detract from actually your creatrix energy. When you're stuck in, okay, well, what do I call myself? And do I need a website? And what does a website look like? And what is the URL? And what's the logo? And like, all those things are really cool and great to build in a business, but they can be the sneaky ways that we actually start focusing on, we focus on them so much that then we actually detract our energy and our time in just like cycling over and over again with them. So building community, seeking guidance, not lone wolfing it. And the reason why it's important to build this in, like the awareness, the systems, as you begin the follow through, is because I'm very big on equilibrium. A lot of people are like, oh, well, life balance, work-life balance. I like to use the word equilibrium because it's almost like it brings everything into this different state of flow. And what I imagine is like, it's like this dashboard that has all these little dials in it. And you're just kind of like dialing up a little bit here, dialing up a little bit, dialing down a little bit there, bringing your life, your business, how you're impacting your family, the world, into a space of equilibrium, so that it flows with more ease and it actually becomes sustainable. You're not like spiking up and down, like, oh, I'm really energized, I'm going to do this. And then a lot of times what happens is we just like crash because we've exerted all this energy and then maybe we don't get the result we wanted. And so then we're tied to a specific, like, our results own us in such a way that then we're like, well, see, that it wasn't going to work anyway. And so much of this path of entrepreneurship in however way that's coming up for you is about trying lots of new things, experimenting. It's like being in a laboratory of trying things out. And so unless we have a place where we're like, all right, it's almost like setting the laboratory is the systems, so that you can then play with different things and not feel overwhelmed and build equilibrium to go in the long run, because otherwise we will totally burn out and have more resistance to trying new things rather than flowing with them. And then the third aspect of this follow through formula is momentum, which I'm huge on. I mentioned it a million times because time and time again, I continue to see how that is the key to beginning to show yourself what's possible, to not just do like one thing, but to actually look at it like you are building momentum and energy in what you're doing, in trying the thing you're going to try out, because that then sets things in motion in such a way that where in a very practical sense, you get to see, okay, test things out. Okay, well, this worked, that didn't work. This could have been done this way. Great. Next time I'll try it like that. If you are building a business and you are attracting clients, you get to understand as you build momentum, that's really the space where you get to understand, okay, what do my clients need? Sometimes we have these ideas of what we think our client wants, and it may be something different, but it's not until you get something in motion that you begin to get feedback and you're like, oh, fascinating. And it really enhances what you're doing, which is really important for you to have those moments of like real life, like, okay, I tweak this here, I tweak that there. Versus what we tend to do is that we kind of like go like put all of our energy into like baking this one incredible, magnificent cake. And we just put it out there and it's like, hey, here's my cake. And it's like, okay, well, what if there was something about the frosting or the flavor? Or instead of looking at it like I'm going to create, I'm going to put things out there, I'm going to test. And it then becomes more about falling in love with the process rather than the goal, which again is really key for the longevity of sustaining your vision forward. So starting somewhere with some action that will move you forward and show yourself what's possible, and you will get clearer as you go. Any questions on follow through? Any questions on, and one of my tips here is first take my mantra on, write it somewhere. I am a woman of completion. And look around you and pick at least a couple of things in your life that you have not completed. Simple things. Maybe it's a book you haven't finished. Maybe it's an email you had sitting in your outbox. Maybe it's a conversation you've been meaning to have, a bill you've been meaning to pay, something that you're not in completion with, and actually bring it to completion, like bring it to fruition. So that you can begin to show, it's like a little universal mark of like, hey, I'm a woman of completion. I'm choosing to step in that energy, and that will also show up in other areas of your life. And ultimately, follow through is all about supporting us to really be someone who is, not just a starter, but actually you're finishing things. You're actually seeing, you begin to collect experiences and more data of how things work for you in your business, that then you can look back and go, okay, tweak this here, tweak that there. And again, using the combination of your inner drive and your divine wisdom to also help you steer the course. Quick check in here. How are we doing? How are we doing? We good? You still with me? Any questions? Can I get a thumbs up? Can I get a heck yes? Can I get a woot woot? I see you guys writing in your journals, so that's good. That's good. Good sign. Good sign. Great. Yes. Awesome. Katya says yes. Love it. Yes, with you. Lots of things needing completion. Yeah. So just pick a couple of them. Don't even go into like overwhelm about all the things, because then the list is endless. I know myself, I have a few things I thought about, right? Even as I said it, I was like, oh yeah, that and that. Like, let me step into that action to be like, okay. And then proudly declare, I am a woman of completion, and I complete everything I start. So anytime you're going to start something, books are my favorite example because I read a lot, and I have a few books that I just kind of have hanging out. And when I took on this mantra, it was very much about, okay, I'm going to complete everything I start. What does that look like for me? And it became like this just like, oh, this beautiful opportunity to actually show myself what I'm capable of and trust myself more, because that's the thing. And that's what one of the things that erodes the trust in ourselves. And trust is like, I am convinced, the superpower that we all get to really cultivate, trusting ourselves. And one of the big things that erodes our trust, our sense of trust, is that we don't finish what we start. Is that we go, oh, wow, well, I've done this, I've tried this before and it didn't work out. And here we go again. And, I remember even when I was deciding on my entrepreneurship journey, I'd been laid off and it was like my life was turned upside down. I was like, okay, there's this thing I've been wanting to do for a while, and I have two choices. I can either go the corporate route again and get another job and, do that, or I can say, no, I'm not going to go that route. I'm going to start my business. And that brought up every single like red flag of, but look, Maria Leandra, look at all the things you've started before that you didn't bring to completion. Because I was a rock star when somebody else asked me to do something, my boss, or, was like, oh, yeah, I got it done. No problem. But when it was something that was important for me, oh my gosh, all the things that I had started with all of this energy and enthusiasm and then just kind of left hanging. And I thought, how can I trust myself enough to build a business that is profitable, that brings me the freedom that I desire, the freedom of my time, my energy, that creates a new reality for how I live with my husband, with my son, that gives us the freedom that we want. That's a big endeavor. And I honor you, by the way, if you're feeling that that's part of what you want to create, because it's a big, beautiful endeavor. And if it's for you, it's for you. And you just have to find the ways to make it come to fruition. But I had some really like serious conversations with myself. My husband did too. He was very supportive at the time, but he was like, honey, I love you and you're amazing at your job and you've been amazing at your job. I just don't think you're cut out to be an entrepreneur. And it stung like you have no idea, but I knew there was truth in it because I hadn't been showing myself that I could bring things to fruition, that I could say yes in a powerful way. And it wasn't until I had a shift that I was like, okay, here we go. And I am going to build this, and I am going to step in possibility, and I am willing to try. I see, Katya, you love the comparison to the cake. Yes. April, oh my goodness, yes. Katya, same here. We'll start to finish my task from now on. I am a woman of completion. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. So know that we've all been there. And if you're feeling that, it's not only normal, I think that whatever is coming up for you right now around, can I really do this, is really valuable information. When we go underneath it a little bit, then we can discover what's the real block that's there. And then we can shift and dissolve it. And that is the game changer. That is what will completely change the story, because then you won't have to feel like you're like muscling your way through it. You're like, okay, I'm going to do it because I think I can. And I know I can. And it's like this kind of fake positivity. You actually shift like a foundation of like you remove masks and filters and things that we've been putting on for years that make us believe we're something we're not, or we have to pretend we're something we're not, or we have to act a certain way, be a certain way, all that stuff. Or the perfectionism that keeps us completely stuck when we're like, oh, wow, I really want to, let's say you want to do a video and you turn on the camera and it's like, rather than being in the flow of your gifts and allowing yourself to be imperfect, quirky, real. I cannot tell you the shift I had. I remember when I was launching my business, I had very serious conversations with a couple of friends where I said, I don't know how I'm going to do videos. And I'd been in theater and I'd done all this stuff. And I was like, oh, I felt comfortable. I thought I felt comfortable until it came time to talk about something that was really, really important to me. It was like getting naked. It was like, wow, like sharing this feels like somebody's going to look at me like, okay, so what do you got? Show us. I was like, oh my God. And I worked through that. I worked through that myself. I got coached through it. I understood at a deeper level what I had to shift, the stories and beliefs that were holding me back. And then I was like, oh, and now I can't, I don't, I think back at those first few videos and I'm like, wow, what a difference. And that's an example, whether it's videos or emails that I write or just anything. It just feels like night and day, night and day. I can hold more now in my life than ever. And there's some really crazy things happening on behind the scenes in my life, like very intense things that I never would have expected. And yet I can have this ability to kind of hold these things. And it's because I have gone myself through this journey of both choosing to be in self mastery and self development and like, okay, I'm going there and build the awareness, the systems, the momentums, the structure, and everything that has really been the pivotal shift for me to build what I have so far. And when I tell you that, as I look back on things I had written before of how I wanted to live my life, what I wanted to do, I I pinch myself because there it's here, it's happening. And there's so much more to come, but it's really really incredible to see, to look back and go, I see where I've been leaving the breadcrumbs. I call them these golden breadcrumbs that you've been leaving throughout your life that you know are pointing you towards where you are meant to be and who you are meant to be. The who, that's the really juicy part. Um, Lucy, I see you have a commitment of 12. Got it. So here's what I want to do because I want to honor your guys' time. Is first I want to, you know, continue to keep you in a space of curiosity, awareness. This isn't just because the Take a Leap experience is over. The be in that. The group will continue, so you can keep sharing your things there. And I want you to know that this is the tip of the iceberg, like the tiny tip. There's so much more that's available. So if any of what I shared with you over the week resonated with you, the strategy, the energy, the business building, any of those pieces, I want to invite you to join my signature 3-month program called Entrepreneur Jump Spark. And I'm going to mention it here because being in this energy of what's next is this really beautiful space of, okay, here we go. And when you say yes to your next step, amazing things can and will absolutely happen. Entrepreneur Jump Spark is a 3-month program. It's 12 weeks of live group coaching. I've had the privilege of already guiding an incredible group of women who have made just powerful changes in their lives by being not only in the guidance of coaching with me, but also being in that container of sisterhood, of having the conversations, supporting each other, moving each other through the blocks. It's been one of the most profound experiences that I've had the privilege of witnessing. And I want to drop that here because that's the next step. And if there's anything in you, and what's really really exciting that just lights me up in so many ways, is this is the last Entrepreneur Jump Spark that I'm going to be enrolling into in 2020. It says last time I'm going to open up this program. So what that means is that anybody who joins now, we will be walking through the end of 2020 and the beginning of 2021 together. And that is crazy, crazy powerful because we'll be able to be in completion with this year, begin to build what's into 2021. So there will be some aspects about this particular wave of Jump Spark that will be very unique to the other ones. They've all been incredible, but this one we're going to be identifying our word of the year. We're going to be identifying the themes that we want to release from 2020. We're going to be stepping into what are the visions we want to cultivate in 2021. So I want to point out the fact that if there was ever a time to join a group program that's not just videos that are getting sent to you, because I'm with you every step of the way. This is totally live and it's very intimate experience. I don't take very many people. I keep it close because I'm very much a part of the experience as well. And the investment is super low for the incredible value that you get. But the fact that it's happening as we complete 2020 and enter into 2021 gives me chills because I am going to be bringing just everything that's coming through in ways that will be super, super duper transformative. So I'm going to pop the link here because it's currently live. And I want you to just take a look at the content and take a look at Jump Spark. There we go. I want you to take a look at the content. I want you to take a look at what's available. I'm offering some really incredible bonuses. And for anybody who is watching this, this workshop, first of all, I have a gift for you guys that came live, which I'll share in a second, aside from Jump Spark. But also, if you watch this workshop and you join Jump Spark by Sunday, I'm also going to be giving you I'm going to be hosting a very special like Vision Quest 2021 experience for whoever joins again within the first 3 days. We're going to be doing just some really cool energy shifting. We're going to be talking about what to clear, what to release, what to reclaim, what to recalibrate into so that you can start 2021 with a clear vision of where you are going. And that's my commitment, because what lights me up is rising together and, not letting anything constrict us anymore. Authenticity, showing up as who we are, feeling empowered, feeling free, feeling joyful, feeling lit up when you wake up in the morning, when you go to bed at night. That is the world we get to live in. And that's what's possible for us right now, since so many things have changed. And I want to be able to be there for you. So I invite you to check it out. If you have any questions, please, please, please let me know. Again, some really exciting bonuses available over the next 3 days, including drop downs in price. Oh, thank you. Oh, PG, that's amazing. Trisha, oh, I love you. See, look at this. Sisterhood, sisterhood. Beautiful. I really appreciate that. So there's the link. Really cool bonuses happening, including I'm taking $200 off if you sign up over the next 3 days from the regular price, which is just a phenomenal value. Payment plans available. And again, what you're getting for this program, feel free to ask the ladies who have been through it. They'll tell you it's probably worth it. And, at least twice what what the investment is, if not more. So if you have any questions, let me know. We're starting early in November, so we get to move quickly into what's next. So imagine spending November, December, and January together. It's going to be incredible. It's going to be beyond incredible. Thank you, April. Yes, April. So if you have any questions, you can talk to April, and I'm sure she'll give you the behind the scenes. Okay, so for anybody who is watching this live, stay here. I'm going to end the recording, and I'm going to give you guys something extra special, including for Lucy, who had to drop off. So I'll be emailing you, Lucy. To anybody who's watching the replay, thank you so much for being here. I really, really hope you consider taking this next step with me and taking a leap into the Jump Spark program, whatever it is that you want to light up in your world. I am here for you, and I'm excited to see you in the group. Remember, I also have my Rock Your Life community, which has tons of content and additional goodies for you to be that visionary powerhouse that you know you are. So much love and stardust. And again, whoever is here live, don't go anywhere. I will see you in the next workshop, and mwah, all my love. Bye, everyone.